For President Trump, the Pak Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir is a tactical romance, one that Trump is seeking for deals on critical minerals, even cryptocurrency. But it is clear that Pakistan has landed in Washington's good books again. This after a tumultuous relationship that has ebbed and flowed for decades, especially since Cold War up to 2001's war in Afghanistan. Now, to its advantage, Islamabad is better positioned than its arch-rival New Delhi that currently faces highest US tariff of 50%, but Pakistan has come away with 19% tariff. Given how deeply Prime Minister Modi had invested in Mr. Trump and the relationship with the United States, the writing is on the wall for all to see, begging the questions for how long is Pakistan in the good graces of Donald Trump? And can the United States be a reliable ally to anyone? Let's break it down for you. The United States is siding with terror sponsor Pakistan. Why so? There's clearly more than what meets the eyes. The United States has applauded Pakistan in containing terrorist entities that pose a threat to the peace and security of the region and the world. This is nothing but a farce because in July itself, the US designated Lashkar Proxy, the Resistance Front, as a foreign terrorist organization and also an SDGT. The US has condoned loss of lives in terror incidents in Pakistan, even backed Pak's counter-terror efforts. It was the Lashkar Proxy TRF that claimed responsibility for this Pahalgam terror attack. The group, tagged by US State Department itself as a terror organization. US has also promised to counter terrorism in US forums with Pakistan. And the same US is allowing Pakistan's failed Marshal Asim Munir to, in fact, nuclear saber rattle on its own soil. Brings us to the other question. Is this what is expected out of a steadfast ally like the United States, especially for India? Let me now open that debate to our esteemed panelists. I'm joined in by former diplomat Ambassador Rajiv Dogra, also joined in by Mr. Brahma Chalani, who's a strategic affairs expert, being told that Professor Chalani will be joining us in just a bit. But Professor Andrew Eliatham, who is an international relations expert and professor at the Macalester College, is also joining us. Thank you, Ambassador and Professor, for joining in. First of all, Professor, if I could begin with you, as we've talked about this tumultuous relationship that we've witnessed between the United States and Pakistan goes all the way back to the Cold War era. Then you have 2001, the war in Afghanistan, cutting again over to 2011 when Osama bin Laden was found in Islamabad and killed over there. What explains the reset in ties now?
Well, the United States' relationship with Pakistan has been fluid, put it charitably, over the decades, and it depends on who in Washington is perceived to be the most pressing bad guy in the region. Sometimes that's Afghanistan, sometimes it's Iran, sometimes it's non-state actors, various militant groups. And especially under a president like President Trump, the United States policy can shift very, very quickly because it is very fluid. It's been complicated now recently because the United States also needs to partner with India as a strategic partner to help balance China in the Indo-Pacific. And so the Americans want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to have a good working relationship with Pakistan on the counter-terror, counter-Iran, counter-Afghanistan fronts, and they want to have a good relationship with India on the containing and blunting China front. And those two things don't go together very easily, given the last many, many decades of relations between New Delhi and Islamabad. Okay. Trying to square the circle, it's very difficult.
It absolutely is, and also not a balancing act at all, given that it's now clearly going in favor of Islamabad. I can see Professor Chalani has also joined in. Thank you, Professor, for joining in. But Ambassador Dogra, I want to quickly bring you in on the hypocrisy of the United States. On one hand, we had the State Department designating TRF as a foreign terrorist organization. And today, that very State Department has come out with a release where they have condemned ISIS Khorasan. They have condemned the Taliban, the BLA, in fact, without any reference to the TRF.
Well, I would not blame the State Department because they are under pressure from a man called Trump. And Trump feels that Pakistan is the solution to all his billions. So
That's exactly what I mean. I mean, we all know what the State Department represents.
So that is the problem. Till Trump discovers that Pakistan has ended up bankrupting him all over again, there is no solution to this. He will continue in his ways, and Pakistan has played its cards very cleverly. It cultivated the general who's just retired, and it has cultivated through its lobbyists everyone close to Trump's family and Trump's family itself. So, till we are able to disillusion them out of this illusion called Pakistan, there is no solution to it because Trump does not listen to anyone except his own interpretation of how the world should be colored. So that is one. Second, Pakistan, by giving him dreams of rare earth minerals, which, by the way, have not been explored yet. So between claiming the potential, exploration, and drilling, there's a huge difference. And that difference is not only in terms of the volumes of those rare minerals or their value, it is also in terms of the fact that some of the rare minerals that Pakistan claims to have are in Gilgit-Baltistan, besides KPK and Balochistan. So if they are exploring in Gilgit-Baltistan, India has a problem because it is Indian territory. Second, if they say that there are new gold deposits, because earlier gold deposits in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are already being mined by one Chinese company and some other Pakistani companies, and they are small. But the gold deposits which it claims are in Indus River Basin and claims they are of the value of $5 billion or so, means that they must be coming from the Indian territory.
Right. The ones in Rekodik are still untapped largely, is what we are being told.
No. Rekodik is with a Chinese company and has been hugely controversial over the years. There was a Canadian company first, which has a claim against Pakistan for $21 billion. So let's leave those aside.
Okay. I want to bring...
But the important point is that if the gold deposits, new gold deposits, are in Indus River Basin, then that gold must be flowing from Indian territory. So let us find out where that gold is, rather than letting it go to Pakistan.
Professor Jilani, I want to bring you in on this very critical point that's been raised by Ambassador Dogra, because news has filtered in through our own sources as well that Pakistan is in talks with various consortiums, particularly not just the United States, but also Saudi Arabia, Turkey and China as well, as they are now going to be opening out their rare earth minerals that also includes these copper and gold mining depots in Rekodik. We are being told that they are going to try and balance it out between Balochistan being allocated to the United States and perhaps Gilgit-Baltistan going over to China. Is it going to be as simple in terms of this division of the mineral allocation?
Pakistan has long pursued mineral riches, oil riches, rare earth riches. It has found nothing so far. There are some deposits, but they are very modest deposits in international countries so that it can actually revive its failing economy. But the issue as to why the US is now again quoting Pakistan is a more important issue, because after all, Pakistan is the country that provided safe haven to Osama bin Laden. He was living next to Pakistan's main military academy. Pakistanis have been involved in terrorist attacks on US soil, the World Trade Center attack, for example. And the US partnership with Pakistan in Afghanistan didn't work to American interests. Pakistan was responsible for killing American soldiers in Afghanistan, using its proxy, the Taliban. On Iran, Pakistan is hardly a valued partner for the US. After all, Iran and Pakistan are not friends. They are rivals, and the Iranians are very suspicious of Pakistan. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is why? Why the revival of this US-Pakistan partnership. First, it began under Biden and has since gained momentum. The point is that US policy has long valued control. Pakistan is ever pliable. It's ready to do America's bidding. India, by contrast, prides itself as an independent power. For the
Professor, forgive me interrupting you there, but don't you think that this US administration under Donald Trump and Pakistan, for whatever it has been since Cold War era over to the year of the Afghan war in 2001 and then 2011, the killing of Osama bin Laden in Islamabad, doesn't it beg the question that is it not a partnership that is perhaps meant for each other? Because Donald Trump in his first administration is the very same US president who accused Pakistan of offering them nothing but lies and deceit.
You're absolutely right, Akansha. The US is willing to overlook Pakistan's terrorism track record for one simple reason. Pakistan's terrorism now, for a number of years now, is largely directed at India. So as long as Pakistan does not aid any terrorist attack in the US or shelter another Osama bin Laden type of US wanted terrorist, Washington is willing to work with and reward Islamabad. That's the message. In fact, as Trump's former National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster, famously said, the US is afflicted by, quote unquote, strategic narcissism. This means US foreign policy never learns from its blunders and keeps repeating history. But Pakistan has been, in recent months, quietly buying influence with the Trump White House. The first indication came in February when Trump froze all US foreign aid but made an exception. He made an exception for the nearly $400 million in security assistance to Pakistan. And then came Trump's March address to a joint session of the US Congress, in which he pointedly thanked Pakistan for helping to arrest a US wanted terrorist. But I think the critical thing happened in late April, just after the Pahalgam massacre in India, when Pakistan made a major investment deal with the Trump family-controlled World Liberty Financial, this crypto firm. That led to a sea change in Trump's attitude toward Pakistan. You can see right after that how Trump's view of Pakistan changed dramatically. His new love for Pakistan became public.
Absolutely. Thank you for raising that. Thank you for raising that, Professor.
In fact, he began calling Pakistan a great country, a country that has been a long-standing state sponsor of terrorism, became a great country for Trump. And even when Trump in May imposed travel bans and restrictions on 19 countries, Pakistan was conspicuously excluded from those lists.
Professor Latham, I want to bring you in on these very critical points that have been raised right now. Is it truly about making America great again when we all know Donald Trump's own vested interest via WLF? Of course, there is plenty that Pakistan may have offered to the US president, whether it's extraditing the killer in the Kabul bombings or perhaps even calling for a Nobel Peace Prize for the US president and give him the much hungry credit, wanting president the credit that he's been demanding for. But do you really think that this entire tariff war is about making America great again, and the targeting of India genuinely has something to do with India's purchase of Russian oil, this when India is not even the largest buyer of Russian oil?
Well, I think we have to separate Donald Trump's interests from the United States' interests, as one of the speakers pointed out.
Thank you for saying that.
This policy shift was initiated under the Biden administration. And there's an old saying attributed to Lord Palmerston back in the 19th century: countries don't have permanent friends or enemies, they have permanent interests, and they will pursue those interests. And sometimes, in the American case, not the Trump case, but the American case more broadly, American policy in the region favors Pakistan. And America turns the State Department, the Pentagon, they turn a blind eye to Pakistan's support of various militant and terrorist organizations. At other times, especially in recent years, the U.S. has been courting India. Now, the wheels came off that recently, and I think part of Trump's deference to Pakistan, if I can put it that way, is about pressuring Modi and the Indian government to get on board with Team America, because Trump weirdly, in his bones, understands that the post-Cold War era of American unipolarity, dominated unipolarity, is over. We're in a multipolar era. It's very fluid, and he wants as many friends, as many partners on Team America as possible. Sometimes he uses the stick to beat them into submission. Sometimes he uses the carrot to try to entice them into Team America, but that's his approach. And I don't think that's inconsistent with the broader State Department and Pentagon approach. Sometimes they see value to the Pakistan relationship and are willing to turn a blind eye to excesses, if I can put it mildly. And sometimes they're more favorably inclined towards India. That's simply geopolitics in an era of great power competition.
But Professor, I can tell you that they wouldn't allow this kind of saber rattling for a steadfast ally like Israel on US soil, but they've done that to a strategic partner like India, which still happens to be their partner in a grouping like Quad.
Yeah, and I think that's the Trump influence rather than the deeper American national interest. And like I said, you have to separate those two, although in practice, on a daily basis, obviously Trump is the president and he's going to have an impact on American policy. But imagine a slightly different universe in which Donald Trump wasn't president. We would see some differences in American policy towards South Asia, but I don't think we would see fundamental differences in that the United States would still be trying to seduce, woo, or court both Pakistan and India to get them on Team America, even though they don't get along with each other and have historical disputes that go back decades, if not centuries.
Okay. Ambassador Dogra, where do you see this entire push for diversification, especially as far as the US's own needs for rare earth minerals is concerned? Is this also going to turn ironclad allies like China and Pakistan as competitors for the United States? Because so far we know that rare earth minerals were being exported from China over to the United States. Another important partner for them happens to be Brazil, and we all know the spat between US President and President Lula.
Well, let's try and understand a couple of things. First, I'm glad your guest from America agrees with me that we must make a distinction between US State Department and its hopes and policies and the individual ego of President Trump, which is now driving US State Department's actions, not just against India, but also universally, whether for or against. Second, insofar as the so-called rare minerals are concerned, as I said before, there's a huge lead time between potential claims of deposits, their exploration in terms of drilling, making the surveys, and then finding out the amount of deposits, whether they are in commercially viable forms. Then comes the issue of competition between China, America, Turkey, or Saudi Arabia, or any of the other countries. Now, that competition can be avoided, and Pakistan is adept at keeping many balls in the air. But the issue is that it is just a dream that Pakistan is showing for the temporary purposes of keeping those countries away from India. As far as America is concerned, besides the greed, it is always historically found it convenient to deal with a single man, in this case a dictator like Munir, who's running the country. The rest of the people like prime ministers and so on, they just fall in line with whatever he says. So the issue for India is that how to get Mr. Trump back to the real world, not the imaginary world that he likes to think of and dream about in terms of his personal interests.
Okay.
Let me make one more point. It does not amount to making America great again. Even as tariff arbitrariness, American economists are saying that instead of making America great, it will make America get back to the days of 1930s, So that's a dangerous thing for America. So let us just hope that some Americans, like the professor here, are able to convince the American population at large that they are going down a path which is not good for America itself.
Professor Latham, how do you react to that? I'm going to come to Professor Chilani for his closing thoughts. But Professor Latham, how do you respond to that, given that Washington has also seen an opening as far as CPEC is concerned, and the attacks on the security personnel, the insurgency that was perhaps plaguing the region as well, has given an opening to Washington. So many are questioning if CPEC has been impacted, what will ensure America's own success in the region?
Right. Well, there's plenty of constituencies in the United States who are opposed to Donald Trump and his policies with respect to trade, critical minerals, rare earth elements, those sorts of things. It's a mistake to paint all of America with a single brush, especially if that brush has the name Donald J. Trump on it. That's just not the way this country works. I know as an immigrant, I'm a Canadian actually, immigrant to this country, so I see it kind of at a distance. And I do see these profound differences and disagreements around these big issues of both domestic and foreign policy. President Trump is not popular at the moment here. Rather, to put it differently, he's less popular than he's been over the last few years, precisely because he's embarked upon some of these bizarre policy initiatives, both at home and abroad. And so I just want to underscore that there is no monolithic United States of America. It's a very diverse country, politically, ethnically, religiously, in all sorts of ways. And I will say this, and this is important, the most powerful demographic in the United States right now, the wealthiest and increasingly politically influential, is the Indian diaspora in the United States. It's incredibly powerful. It doesn't shape particular policy outcomes, but it can increasingly determine who's going to win the White House. And that constituency has drifted over time from supporting the Democratic Party to moving in the direction of the Republican Party. And Donald Trump is reversing that right now.
Absolutely, I agree. We just don't have strategic or diplomatic ties. We have a talent exchange. We have the diaspora there. But Professor Chilani, I want to bring you in on the point about China's own investment. China also has reasons to be concerned about. They have $60 billion worth of investment currently in Pakistan. But at the same time, how must India look at this situation? How do you speak to those who are advocating that India must now look at a reset of ties with China?
First, on Pakistan, it has long chased all these dreams of becoming an oil exporting country, and Trump recently boasted of a deal to tap Pakistan's quote unquote massive oil reserves. And as the Washington Post reported a couple of days ago, this claim of Trump has been met in Pakistan with disbelief and even mockery. Pakistanis look at this claim as another puff of hot air, aimed less at finding oil than at needling India. So this is the way Trump is operating. But we should not forget that Trump, in terms of his Pakistan policy, he only actually embodies continuity in US policy toward Pakistan. There has been a long tradition in the US of quoting Pakistan. Okay. And one principal reason why Pakistan has been under the dominance of its military is largely because of US policy. The US policy has built up the Pakistan military. It has emboldened its generals. In fact, it was the US, along with China, that helped build Pakistan's nuclear bomb as a counterweight to India.
Okay, I'm afraid I'll have to leave it at that, Professor, since I'm running short of time. Just want to end with the thoughts of the late Henry Kissinger, who said that to be a friend of the United States is dangerous. In fact, it's equally dangerous to be an enemy, but to be a friend is perhaps more fatal. That's all I have for you in this edition of Brass Tacks. Up next is Aditya Thackeray in conversation with Zakir Jacob.
Can we have a round of applause for the young and dashing leader of the Sena UBT, Mr. Aditya Thackeray. Aditya, thank you for joining us at the CNN News 18 Town Hall. The last time we met was also at a town hall just before the assembly elections. It was a different circumstance. It was a different time. Do you want to start off by, looking back at what happened or did not happen for you in the assembly elections 6 months ago?
I think more than what has happened or not happened, the funnier part is now today, the times have changed. And the Election Commission is saying, Kagaz nahi dikhayenge. Of course, wins and losses keep happening. Electoral cycles are something that we have to go through. But what is very important today and something that has to be addressed nationally, and probably it's also a global issue because the world is looking at us as the world's largest democracy. Probably we've come to a point where we are pretending to be a democracy anymore because, frankly, when you see a Shakun Rani who's voted 3 times in Bengaluru and 2 times in Uttar Pradesh, you see a Varanasi thing where I think a man has 34, 35 kids in 16 years. These are some sketchy things that have come out. What is, again, very, very important is to have a whole cleanup drive of this election vote chori that has happened. And we're not blaming anyone. We're not saying you've done it or you've done it. But what we expect the Election Commission to do is not be a coward. We're expecting the Election Commission to come up, either debate it with Rahul Gandhi, say you are wrong, this is the truth, and this is how it's supposed to be. Or then accept that you've committed a mistake, you've committed a fraud, like the Election Commission person was caught in Chandigarh also, and say that, okay, this is our fault, we will clean up our data. But to allow something like a voter mismanagement across India is one of the biggest crimes you can commit in this world today, especially when we pretend to be the world's largest democracy.
But tell me, Aditya, when you're making such a big charge, the buzzword these days, certainly in Delhi, and Mr. Gandhi has been going on and on about it, is vote chori. When you're making such a grave allegation of vote chori, whether it's in Karnataka or here in Maharashtra or Haryana, that the Election Commission is basically batting for the BJP, batting for the ruling party.
No, it's the other way. The funnier part is we're asking questions to the Election Commission and the BJP is getting rattled. Why?
No, so, you'll have to ask the BJP that. I don't know why. But my point is, when you're making such grave allegations against an independent constitutional body, should that not be backed by some irrefutable evidence?
Absolutely.
Give it in writing.
I think your channels were showing the press conference the other day, and a couple of constituencies that Rahul has analyzed, and the Congress party has largely gone to the depth of it and analyzed. We have started the same exercise here in Maharashtra. There are about 48 Lok Sabhas across the country where they found these voter chori people. Now, how can 60 people be living in one room where nobody is staying right now? Only during elections, those 60 people are staying there. 80 people were shown in a beer bar, living in a beer bar. Is this the kind of democracy we pretend to be, and is this the kind of institution we think is free and fair? The sad part is, for the last 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it may be, when these guys have started doing that, the Election Commission of India has prevented free and fair elections in India. And I'll break it into 2 parts. One is, of course, the voter chori, which is now coming out, because, of course, when we were raising this question time and again, our critics or the ruling party used to always say that, what is the proof you all are saying with, right? We've given the proof right now. The other day when 300 MPs were detained in any part of the world, in any country, this would have been big news. Sadly, it didn't here. The fault lies in where we believe that the Election Commission today also is truly free and fair, which is not. The other thing is, if you look at Maharashtra's elections, I'll give you 3 stats. 1, 47 lakh voters, 45 to 47 lakh voters increased between the elections that happened in April to the elections that happened in October, November. That is one. Were 47 lakh people born 18 years ago? Did we have a population boom?
The Election Commission has a justification for it.
No, so they should.
Your point.
Yeah.
I'll come to that, yeah.
The last hour of voting, which is 5 o'clock onwards, almost 70 lakh plus voters have voted in that. And 3, when we are voting on EVMs, right? We're voting on EVMs because it's digital. We're voting on EVMs because we save time in sealing the machines and counting the votes. The Election Commission has given us revised figures over the next 3 days amounting to a revision of 12.5%. So you're saying that after the voting ballot has been sealed, you can still revise it by 12.5%. That's 1/3 of the entire votes.
No.
So,
on the 41.
Our point is basically this, that if you have data which is saying we are wrong, if you are saying that, okay, you are wrong, you are sore losers, and you don't have the right data, which we have taken from the Election Commission's website, come in front of us, come in front of Mr. Gandhi or the Congress or whoever from us is raising the issue and debate it. You can be the person hosting the debate.
No, but
happy to do that.
Tell me, on that addition of, it is 41 lakh voters between January and October of 2024. The Election Commission says there is no aberration in it, there is no abnormality in it, because the same number was seen in 2014.
The same Election Commission has stolen our party name and given it to Fake Nath Minde. The same Election Commission has stolen our bow and arrow and given it to Fake Nath Minde.
No, but that's a separate matter.
No. All I'm saying is, how can the Election Commission be neutral today?
No. So tell me, on this 41 lakh voters that you're alleging, you're saying it's an abnormal
yes,
number.
Yes, these 41 lakh voters were increased only in 118 seats. And funnily enough, 99 seats have been won by the Mahayuti.
No, but how do you know that all of these 41 lakh voters voted for the BJP?
So that is what the point is now. We're going to the depth of it. But it cannot be a coincidence that only 118 seats see the spike and 99 seats out of that, the BJP is winning. So somewhere there's a connection for sure. And chalo, if these extra voters are not of the BJP and they're voting for us, it's even more incentive for the Election Commission to get rid of them.
So in Maharashtra, the problem was additional voters. Now in Bihar, the opposition is saying
reduction of voters.
Deletion of voters.
Because यहाँ addition में पकड़े गए, अभी वहाँ reduction चल रहा है.
No, so
simplest thing would be
the voter will turn around and say, make up your mind. Now, is addition a problem or subtraction a problem?
No, the Election Commission should make up its mind whether addition is helping the BJP or subtraction is helping the BJP. Because we are catching the Election Commission on every foot.
So you have a problem with the extra addition of voters in Maharashtra, and you have a problem with the deletion of voters.
We have a problem with fake voters, we have a problem with bogus voters, we have a problem with booth capturing, we have a problem with electoral malpractices, which is being promoted actively by the Election Commission by shielding these people.
So an exercise like the SIR, which is happening in Bihar, is to tackle exactly what you're saying.
Great. So are you telling me that the Bihar Lok Sabha elections that happened with all these additional voters was all bad, and should the Bihar Lok Sabha go for polls again?
Okay.
इन्होंने तो वोटिंग की है ना बिहार के लोकसभा में, and कभी ना कभी तो, see, tell me today, when you look at someone who's born before 2003, where will you get your birth certificate from? Where will you get your documents from? Give them a chance to at least appeal.
So now I want to come back to Maharashtra, and because you've also backed Rahul Gandhi's claims. Section 31 of the Representation of People's Act is very clear. If you have a grave allegation to be made against the Election Commission, it has to be sworn under oath before a court of law or before the Election Commission.
The other day, where were the MPs going? They were put in the bus saying we're taking you to the Election Commission, and they were taken to the police station. 300 MPs were taken to the police station.
So they didn't have permission to.
No. What is permission? Election Commission is supposed to meet us. Who are they serving? Are they serving the BJP or serving the elected representatives?
Surely they can't meet 300 MPs at the same time.
No. Tell me something. If the Election Commission doesn't have time for elected members of parliament, 300 elected members of parliament, what are they doing? Playing rummy in the office?
Well, we know of people who are playing rummy in the office, but anyway, that's...
And now they've got the right department now.
No, that we'll have another conversation on that. But
it's absurd to think that the Election Commission doesn't have time for the members of parliament.
I want to come...
Are they above the parliament?
I want to come to another issue which Poonam referred to when she started off our...
Sorry, I'll also interrupt you on this. If you've followed this case of SIR, the Election Commission has submitted to the Supreme Court, the Honorable Supreme Court, that we won't give you the data.
That they are not bound by law to give the data.
So then what is this rule of Section 31 then?
So they are not bound by law, but you are bound by law if you make an allegation.
Exactly.
I want to come to Maharashtra, and what we have seen over the last few months is a bit of a concerning spike in the instance of violence against those who don't speak Marathi. You have said, and I quote, you don't want anybody to take the law into their hands, but when it's the other way around and Marathi or Maharashtra is insulted, then things can escalate. Are you at somewhere sort of justifying or giving a license to your supporters to
tell you what, one
attack
second.
people?
In this also I'm very clear. This whole case of language issue, let me make it very clear, because today we are speaking in English. I'm also interrupting you in Hindi. We're not against any language, first and foremost. We've always been a state that has accepted lakhs of people from across India. They come here with dreams, they come here to be big. Mumbai has been a city of dreams, and we've seen people becoming bigger. We also have the biggest Hindi film industry in the world. from here, from Mumbai, and people have come here, chief ministers have come here, tried to take them to their own states, but no one has moved from here. This is our credit, because this city has always identified itself as a city that lives up to the dreams, and this is the Indian dream, like you have cities in the American dream. Having said that, this is also the capital of Maharashtra. What we are saying here, and why this language issue propped up, is because the BJP government sitting in the state today, because of vote chori or whatever, said that the third language, which is Hindi, will be imposed on kids from standard 1 in schools. What we, be it Shiv Sena, UBT, be it MNS, be it the Marathi Ekikaran Samiti, be it a lot of other parties, came together on, is saying we already have a third language in the 5th standard. Why do you want to impose the third language in the 1st standard? How much more burden will you put on the kids? It roll-balled into a controversy, and of course we had to come out on the streets and say, look, whatever's going on, even today, the BMC has 3.5 lakh kids studying in 8 languages, in 8 different mediums of learning, which is Marathi, English, semi-English, Hindi, Urdu, Gujarati, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada. We've introduced technology as a language now. But all of this going on, why do you want to disturb the peace here? 2, when you speak about the 1 or 2 incidents that happened, these were sporadic incidents. Let me tell you, this is not something that has been planned by a party and saying, okay, chalo, isko peette, aise karte.
You don't think there's a pattern in the violence?
These are sporadic incidents. And these happen, see, today, if you go on a railway station and start running behind someone saying, chor, 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 you'll have 10 other people catching him and thrashing him there. These incidents happen across India. You could see it in some yatras right now. You could see a CSF Jawan beaten up by someone. All of these things happen, which is wrong. I'm not justifying them. What we demand and what we expect is simple, that when you come to our state, just like when I come to your state, you respect my local culture, you respect my local language, you respect my state. As simple as that. The escalation part that I said is, if you start insulting my language, if you start insulting my local culture, if you start insulting my local heroes, if you start insulting my state, someone might lose it and a sporadic incident might happen, which is beyond anyone's control.
But
I'm not justifying any incident, right? Now, compare this to the mob lynchings that happen. Compare this to this whole caravan of Gaurakshaks that happen. Is anyone showing that?
No, we're all showing it. It's not like we're
my
hiding
point
that.
Is, our point is simple, that we all respect all religions, we respect all cultures, we respect all languages, just don't disrespect mine.
No, but
Simple
tell me, if you are saying that these are sporadic, there is no pattern, why are the people who are perpetrating this violence either from your party or from the MNS?
Because if you feel for your state, you will.
So other parties don't feel for the state?
Maybe the BJP doesn't feel for it. Maybe the BJP is placing someone to instigate you in the face of elections.
So you're saying BJP is instigating these people to say that they won't speak
Could be. If the BJP is behind different issues around the country, it could be doing this as well. How do we know?
No, so I want to come to the larger issue of language, because leave alone the violence. I mean, that's very, very unfortunate, and there's no place
and
for...
like I said, it's a very sporadic incident, it's a reaction. And you cannot control that.
But even if it is a reaction to perceived insult, I don't think violence is justified. But anyway, I want to come to the larger issue, because as per the 2011 census, 68.9% of Maharashtra population declared Marathi as their language. The first language, the language that they speak. That means that over 31% of the state's population still does not speak Marathi. Also, around 21 lakh Marathi speakers live in Madhya Pradesh. Over 12 lakh live in Gujarat. Now, despite living in these other states, they have declared, as per 2011 census, they have declared Marathi as their first language. If these states start taking objection to the fact that there are Marathi speakers and they're not speaking the local language, would you condone that?
I'll give you a simple example. Forget how many people live in Madhya Pradesh or even Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Gujarat from Marathi, who are speaking Marathi as their first language. Just count how many people who are living here for years and years. The Shiv Sena has existed almost for 6 decades now. See how many people have come here and thrived, as against these 1 or 2 incidents which have propped up.
No, but
have you never lived in Mumbai?
No, I've never lived in Mumbai, but
You roam around in Mumbai, right? You can speak in whatever language someone else speaks. And tell me something, how will these populations in Gujarat or Madhya Pradesh or Karnataka, where you have Marathi populations in pockets, respond if these Marathi populations insult the local language? I don't think any single person has said, "Main hechat nahi bolnar, tumhi maji bhasha bola." We adapt. Anywhere around the world you adapt. And the point is this, we're not saying don't speak a language. We're not saying don't speak Hindi or don't speak English or don't speak French or don't speak Odia or don't speak, German. We're just saying don't disrespect our state.
But the BJP is saying this is timed suddenly to the BMC elections. We were not having these kind of attacks last year or the year before that or the year before
The BJP
that.
can say all of this on the Kapil Sharma show and people will laugh it off because it's coming from them. But to say this on a serious forum is actually a joke from the BJP because the BJP instigates all of this.
I want to come to some national issues. You know, we had the unfortunate Pahalgam terror attack that happened in April. In response, there was the Operation Sindoor. You had at one point in the last few months asked this question, and I want to quote, "Truth should come out how these terrorists behind the Pahalgam terrorist attack came there. Have they been caught? Where are they? Have they entered the BJP?" Now they've been caught. They've been neutralized. Will you take back these words?
Is it official? Because the other day there was a contradiction on that.
It was said by the Home Minister on the floor of Parliament.
There's been a lot of sayings by the Home Minister on the floor of the House. I don't think that's to be considered as seriously. But the most important part is, chalo, for a minute, let's consider that these were the same people. Because they should have first of all not come in. The Home Minister should also answer. Him being the Home Minister, how did these guys enter? How they went on a rampage? How did they massacre so many people? And how did they have so much time to go and speak to people saying, इनको बताओ, उनको बताओ, आपकी धर्म क्या, आपकी जात क्या? ये पूछने का वक्त कैसे मिला? आए कैसे पहले ये failure है, उसका जवाब दीजिए. And two, now that we are telling the world, we sent out delegations of parliamentarians to the world. I think now the armed forces also speaking up, which is saying that this happened from Pakistan and they were backed by China. What exactly is our foreign policy? Because now the government should also answer. First, as I said, how did these guys come in? How did these terrorists and rogue rascals come in? Why were they not shot? Secondly, if they've massacred and finally been shot also, and we know that they're from Pakistan, why is the BCCI going and playing cricket with Pakistan?
No, these are perfectly valid questions.
I'll tell you what. The second question is, if the government is saying that China was behind Pakistan, and I think someone from the armed forces also said that, why is the Prime Minister going to China? And three, the same cycle happened last year when we were told here by a lot of media persons and social media handles that Hindus in Bangladesh are being attacked. Why did the BCCI at the same time invite Bangladesh for a bilateral test series in India?
No, these
Is the BCCI above Hindus? Is the BCCI above the sacrifice of our soldiers? Is the BCCI above national interest?
These are all valid questions, but
And I will not take back my words because you have seen that the failure of the government of India, the union government, in controlling terrorist attacks right from 2014 to now.
So you still don't believe that the three people who were killed in the encounter and announced by the Home Minister
It could be. I'm happy
Parliament are the ones who perpetrated
I'm happy if they
Pahalgam?
were killed, but they should have been killed while entering my country.
Okay. You have been saying for a long time you've been attacking the Shinde Sena, the BJP for ideological compromise. You've compromised on your ideology.
Never.
You have allied with parties that you said you will never ally with. Would Bala Saheb Thackeray have allied with the Congress ever in his lifetime?
I'll tell you what. When my grandfather was alive, back then, he had supported Mrs. Gandhi in her most crucial times. Two, there has also been an instance here where Mr. Deora has become the mayor because of Shiv Sena support and he was in the Congress. Three, Ms. Pratibha Patil and Mr. Pranab Mukherjee were openly backed by my grandfather and the party, even though we were in the NDA, because we thought that this was the better choice to make. Four, we went with the Congress and the UPA because the BJP betrayed on the promises that they had made to us, which is now a habitual offender. They've become a habitual offender on this. And five, and the most important thing, we've never given up on our principles. Even with the Congress, even today, we speak up on Hindutva when we have to. In fact, we were the only party for a long, long time who went to Ayodhya and told the BJP, "Pehle mandir fir sarkar," when the BJP had forgotten about it. We went twice in 2018. After that, in 2019, when we formed the government with the Congress, we still went to the Ram Mandir when it wasn't made. And then the last event was in June 2022. So we've never given up on our principles. In fact, it's the BJP that's been giving up on the principles. What about the Varanasi corridor and the thousands of temples it's demolished? What about the Mumbai Devi temple, which is basically where we draw our name Mumbai from, but now it's under the danger of becoming a corridor and thousands of traders and pujaris around will be resettled because of the BJP government. It's the BJP that's giving up on the principles. Who sat with the PDP in Kashmir when the BJP wanted to sit in power desperately in Kashmir?
So since you talked about ideological compromises, joining hands with your uncle and his party, is that not an ideological
I think the bigger ideological compromise is for the BJP and the Prime Minister to go and cut Nawaz Sharif's cake in Pakistan. The bigger ideological compromise is to go and play cricket with Pakistan when they're having attacks in my country. The bigger ideological compromise is to bring in Bangladesh into my country to play test series when Hindus in Bangladesh are being attacked.
Okay.
To send 50,000 tons of rice when Hindus in Bangladesh are being attacked. That is a bigger ideological compromise that we're not willing to make.
I want to come to the BMC because this town hall is about the BMC and we're talking about the upcoming BMC elections. You are at the forefront of protesting against the metro shed in RA, and now you have the latest line that has been opened. Do you regret, using environmentalism to slow down infrastructure projects?
Not at all. Let me tell you, the lines 2A and 2 and 7A, which someone tweeted the other day saying, oh, these are running successfully. They're not getting as much crowd, but anyway, were inaugurated by us. Metro Line 1 was inaugurated by the Congress. Metro Line 3, which was inaugurated recently, 17 days after the inauguration, you had an entire wall collapse and the station flood up, and the line had to be stopped in monsoons. Again, the Metro Line 3, what we were doing would have saved 10,000 crores of the exchequer of the state government. We were only against the car shed, which is a forest even today. We never stopped the line, and the line work has been going on even in our times and even today.
No, but the line would not have been completed.
It's impractical to say a tunnel digging project in Mumbai will be finished in 2 years. It's a joke. I can vouch for that.
No, but had you insisted on the shed being moved from there, and had that gone through, the line would not have been opened.
100% would have been opened. I can show it to you on a map right now. Give me a sketch pen and a white paper. I'll show you what was the connectivity. Line 3, 6, 4 and 14 would have come together in Kanjurmarg, connecting the entire MMR. 4 crore people of MMR would have come to one point. A car shed is used once in 3 months by the car or the bogies of the rail, of the metro rail, for cleaning and maintenance. You don't need it for everyday purposes. The line work was never stopped. The line work was going on even in our times and before that and after that.
But when you are projected as holding back infrastructure,
who's projecting
that Mumbai is crying out loud for.
I'll give you 2 examples.
Crying out loud for.
I'll tell you what. Worli, the Coastal Road project was our project, initiated by Mr. Uddhav Thackeray in 2013, delayed by Eknath Minde for political purposes for a year and a half. It would have been finished in December 2023 had we been in government.
When it was inaugurated, you took credit for it.
Two, the Atal Setu, the MTHL, the Nhava Sheva connector, when our government was stopped it was complete 82%. It's taken them 2.5 years to complete the rest. The Worli-Shudi connector, when we were in government, we started it in January 2021. We'd finished 48% of the work by June 2022. Now, only 10% of the work has been completed over the next 3 years. Who's slowing down the projects of infrastructure?
No, but you may have...
Nariman Point Cuff Parade connector was initiated by us. It's not taken a single brick into its belly right now. The Mud Island Bridge, who's doing this?
You may have initiated these projects, but it's being inaugurated under the BJP. Whether it's Coastal Road, whether it's Atal Setu or...
Of course, even the Atal Tunnel in Kashmir started off by Mr. Manmohan Singh, inaugurated by the current Prime Minister. It's the habit to do so. काम कोई और करे, दिखावा कोई और करे, तो बीजेपी की पुरानी आदत है.
So tell me, if all of this infrastructure is happening, Coastal Road is happening, Sea Link is happening, why are you then opposed to...
The problem is the quality.
What's wrong with the quality of...
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's go for a drive on the Hindu Rajya Samrat Balasaheb Thackeray Samruddhi Mahamarg from Mumbai to Nagpur. That is one of the reasons Mr. Eknath Minde had to run away, because of the cost escalations and whatever he's earned. But show me one patch of 1 kilometer that's actually flat and worthy of being an international road. I'll take you to the Coastal Road, because the road servicing was done in their time. Go in the tunnel at a slower speed. You'll think you're sitting in a speedboat.
It's under the sea, Aditya. Come on.
No, it's not. It's not under the sea. It's under the. That is again a false thing they had put out, and they had to correct that, because it's under Malaba Hill. It's not under sea. Yeah, I've worked on that project every week. I've gone there every day. They cannot counter me on this. I can sit here without any papers and sit with the entire department and counter them alone.
Are you saying that the Coastal Road is not a world-class project?
Today, with the road surfacing scan that they've done on that Coastal Road, it is in shambles. If we had completed that project by 2023, it would have been world-class.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, the road scam today. Go on Western Express Highway. Mr. Eknath Minde's government has spent 6,080 crores. Giving it to 5 favorite contractors, the whole city. Show me one road today that is not in shambles. They've completed 5% of the work. They're claiming 26% of the work. I've said this from day one, that the BJP Minde government is a scam.
And yet, why are people associating the BJP with finishing these big ticket infrastructure?
It's only the media houses that are getting adverts who are associating them, not anybody else.
People of Mumbai are not.
And of course the fake voters.
What would your
Fake news and fake voters do that, not anyone else.
What would your pitch be? These are real voters sitting in front of you. What would your pitch
Not
be?
saying they're fake, they're voting for us.
Yeah. What would your pitch be to them to vote for the Sena UBT after the sorry for using this language, but you got berated in the assembly elections.
चलो देखते हैं ना, असली वोटर के साथ खेलते हैं.
Okay.
चुनाव आयोग को न्यूट्रल बनने दो, खेलते हैं.
So BMC is the asli election, asli chunav.
I am saying we will wait for the BMC. First, let them declare the BMC. They've been scared to hold it for the last 3 years.
Okay.
And by the way, for Mumbai, the results in the Lok Sabha were 4-2. The 5th seat, they've stolen by 47 votes. Even in the Vidhan Sabha, we won 10 seats out of 36. The Alliance has won 14 seats out of 36. So the BJP has also been berated here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Aditya Thackeray from the Shiv Sena UBT. Can we have a round of applause? Aditya, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you.
at CNN News 18 Town Hall.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Let's begin with a CNN News 18 mega exclusive. We are now learning that Pakistan is all set to bid rare earth mineral sites very, very soon. The mineral wealth in Pakistan really is, in fact, more in the restive Balochistan and in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa area, from where there has been an internal rift that Pakistan is battling. But Pakistan right now is trying to eye investments from both United States, also China and Saudi Arabia. United States, China, Saudi Arabia and other nations have in fact shown interest in Pakistan's minerals, and as per top officials, Pakistan will be accommodating all the top bidders as well. We're also learning that the mineral site will be made single federal entity from the provincial lands for smoother bidding and felicitation of foreign investors. Also, more details emerging. As per top officials, a constitutional amendment is required to make mineral sites as federal subject. Remember, so far the mineral sites are not a federal subject, and that's why a legislation is now under consideration. Top security sources are also suggesting that China will be exploring mines and minerals in Gilgit-Baltistan. Also, Pakistan will be allocating Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa mineral sites to United States and Saudi Arabia. So that distinction has already been made, and this will happen in the first place that we are learning of. So this is the latest that we are picking up. The most crucial aspect is the mineral sites in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. This entire area is of much trouble to Pakistan, but an allocation that has been given to, and at least has been decided for, US and Saudi Arabia. For more details on this, let me bring my colleague Akanksha Swaroop in on this. Akanksha, first of all, making the mineral sites a single federal entity by Pakistan, the fact that that will require a special legislation, and they are already trying to allocate things between China and the US and Saudi Arabia. How does this play out?
Absolutely. In fact, inputs shared with our Security Affairs Editor, Mr. Manoj Gupta, some officials have confirmed to Mr. Gupta that Pakistan is currently in talks with consortiums, not just the United States, China, Saudi Arabia, but even the UK and Turkey. Griha, important to also keep in mind that Pakistan is a vast hub to rare earth minerals worth $3 trillion up to $5 trillion, and that's massive, and Pakistan will not have this compromised at any cost, which is why they have almost finalized talks when it comes to the United States, even China to a great extent, and Saudi Arabia. Now, as you rightly highlighted, what we are learning is that this, as far as minerals are concerned, so far they have been a provincial matter, but bidding and security clearance issues will now be only taken forward when an amendment is officially brought in, when these mineral sites will be made a federal subject. As we all know that the country under the aegis of the Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, and as far as the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif are concerned, they will ensure that this amendment is brought in the next few months. But what we are also being told is that the bidding process should begin in the next 6 to 8 months. But as you also highlighted, as far as the allocation of these mineral sites are concerned, the United States will be in fact allocated Balochistan, even Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. As far as China is concerned, we are being told that China will be allowed to harness Gilgit-Baltistan areas. These are all critically rich in minerals, and as we all know, Pakistan now trying to strike that balance between the United States and keeping in mind China's own geostrategic interests as well. As far as minerals are concerned, we know that the United States will also be going forward with that. If you were to put the 2 and 2 together, that also perhaps shows why the US State Department has particularly taken interest in the designation of the BLA as a terror organization, because they are now eyeing the Balochistan province, and Pakistan looking towards selling out its own mineral sites, which completely are untapped as of now. And the official has also shared that China will be allowed to explore mines and mineral regions in the Gilgit-Baltistan region. As far as northern Balochistan is concerned and the southern Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we all know that United States and Saudi Arabia both will be involved in this. In fact, Saudi Arabia will be finalized on Renodik copper gold mines. So Pakistan now eyeing to federalize these critical mineral sites, and that's when they will give a go-ahead to countries primarily like China, the United States and Saudi Arabia. But they are also exploring these options with various consortiums that also include the United Kingdom and even Turkey.
Right. Also, Akanksha, the fact that you've mentioned about the allocation that's been planned, particularly vis-a-vis China and United States, the fact that China, so far Pakistan is managing to keep China at bay from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. But when we take a look at CPEC, it's already in place in these areas which are borderlining Balochistan. So how has this demarcation really taken place? And also this hobnobbing that we see of the military head there, Asim Munir, who was just in Washington. Can we draw parallels with this announcement and his visit?
Right. This is something that has been a cause of concern for China primarily ever since, in fact, the US President Donald Trump made that announcement that they will be jointly exploring oil reserves as well with Pakistan, and gave them a pacified tariff rate of 19%. So China, of course, has been concerned about its own geostrategic interests, primarily the CPEC. We know that there have been attacks as far as Chinese officials are concerned, those who were involved with the CPEC. So will there be an increased security, tighter security coming in? That is something that we'll have to see. But Pakistan trying to play very smart over here by creating a division where Gilgit
Viewers, if the India bloc wanted to spark some sort of Bangladesh-like anarchical revolt in India by misleading voters that their votes don't count, that they have been cheated of their fundamental right to hold their government to account, then it will have to try harder, much, much harder, viewers. The Congress party's vote chori agitation is woefully failing the test of truth. How am I saying this? What facts can I bring to the table? Viewers, I'm saying this because it would appear from an objective reading of the facts that have been placed in the public domain that the BJP has done a Rahul Gandhi on the Congress party. The BJP's top leaders today released poll records of Sonia Gandhi that date back to 1980, viewers, 45 years, to show that she was a voter even before she became a citizen of India. In other words, Sonia Gandhi was an alleged fake voter. Why is this being put out, viewers? And you can see that on your screens. That is the electoral roll from the National Capital Territory of Delhi. This dates back to 1980. And guess who's on that electoral roll? It is Sonia Gandhi when she only became a citizen in 1980.